Well, with the Acolyte being canceled, some fans of the show are disappointed it's not going to see a season two, but some fans in the show are actually in fear that the Acolyte may be entirely deleted off of Disney Plus for a tax write-off, much like the show Willow was. So we have an article here from Forbes where we're going to talk about this and if this is a possibility that this could happen to the Acolyte. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic. And again, the article here from Forbes, the headline is Fans Fear the Acolyte May Be Deleted Entirely for a Disney Tax Write-Off. This is by Paul Tassi. The Acolyte has been canceled and will not get a season two. That has been hard enough for fans of the show to hear, but now there is panic spreading that Disney may take things a step further and delete the entire series from the service, trying to take some sort of tax write-off in the process, as we've seen in the past across the streaming industry. Also because they do this when they're not proud of a show and they kind of want to memory hole it because you can't find it. That's one of the other reasons as well. Well, there's good news and bad news. First, why are people worried at all? This appears to have started with fans saying that Disney has deleted all official Acolyte merchandise from its store, and it's not a subcategory, and it returns no search results. Looking into this further, I'm not clear if this is a smoking gun. You cannot find indoor merchandise either, for instance, and Acolyte products are still being sold elsewhere like toys. There are, however, old links to specific items that don't just have a sold-out page. The listings are gone completely and return error pages, which is odd. Still, I'm not even sure deleting merch equals deleting show, but back to that. Now, they did add some merchandise back into the store, which I'm wondering if that has more to do with the fact that you have the Star Wars Outlaw game that's being released by Ubisoft, I think next week or a couple weeks. And I'm sure that Ubisoft may have said something to Disney and been like, hey, this doesn't really bode well for our game if you're basically your newest Star Wars show is essentially being deleted out of existence. That's not going to bode well. So they may have put stuff in back for that, perhaps, but it's hard to know. It says, no, Disney cannot delete the Acolyte for a tax write-off. While you may recall Warner Brothers doing that with Batgirl and Coyote versus ACME, that happened before these shows were released. So Disney cannot do that with the Acolyte, a fully released series. However, Disney can delete the show to avoid paying residuals for the series, and there's already precedent for this within Disney Plus itself. This exact thing happened to Willow, a show that was little watched, and Disney simply nuked it. There is now no legal way to watch the Willow show, which infuriated its creators who knew why they'd done it. Going to say, they gave us 6 months, writer John Bickerstaff said. Not even. This business has become absolutely cruel. Before you say tax write-off, these shows have already been released and so can't be a tax write-off. And in the case of Willow, they own the property outright. The only conclusion is that this is to get out of paying residuals during a strike. Also, I just want to point out Willow is yet another Lucasfilm property. So this is another Lucasfilm property that would perhaps have this happen to them. And not only that, you had Indiana Jones, which bombed horrifically last summer, the summer before, one of the recent summers. So again, not a good trend here lately for Lucasfilm. What's happened here is that due to past negotiations of streamers underpaying residuals for the content compared to the cable era, is that more places are tempted to just erase low-performing shows instead of continue to pay residuals that they don't deem worth it. And yes, The Acolyte was a poorly watched show, and it's not out of the realm of possibility this could happen. Here's how the LA Times explained it when this happened to Willow. In other words, Disney had to pay the residual cost of Willow based on how many subscribers the platform had, regardless of how many people were watching the show. Higher residual rates in the new deal that the Writers Guild of America negotiated will probably accelerate streamers' decisions to drop shows, which again is another reason why the writers' strike ends up being something that's going to hurt them because they fell right into the hands of most of the studios. This would, however, be an utter PR disaster for Disney. I don't think any worse than The Acolyte already was, in my opinion. Fans are already complaining that Disney gave into the toxic part of the fan base who hated The Acolyte and wanted it gone, but even the cancellation decision was more about cost/viewership alone. Deleting it from the service is another level entirely and raises questions about Disney's entire Star Wars wing of content. I mean, we have another article on this, or another video on this, and there's an article by Forbes about this. It wasn't canceled because Dude Bros didn't like it. It was canceled because nobody watched it. It was too expensive. It almost cost $200 million to make and was the lowest viewed Star Wars show on Disney Plus. That's not hard to see why it was canceled. As much as you may love it as a person individually, the show did not bring people onto the platform to subscribe to Disney Plus, which is the entire purpose of a show that would be on a streaming network. And for that reason, it was not renewed. And of course, that same crowd would celebrate the show being actively incinerated, as they do also believe it would wipe it from the Star Wars canon. Would it? I don't even know the answer to that, as the entire concept is just so insane. It's like burning every copy of Star Wars novel and asking if that means its storylines still exist. And in terms of if they were to delete it off of Disney Plus, would it mean that it wasn't in canon? At this point, who knows with Lucasfilm? I don't think they much care about canon. They constantly do things to mess with it on even established things. So more than likely, they would just have subtle references to it in other shows and movies where the fans of that show would recognize what they're talking about. But who knows with them? I'm at the point with Star Wars where I have no faith in it being good until proven otherwise. I wish it was good. I hope things will be good. But as of late, most of it has not been good. And it's not because of who's on the show or anything of that nature. It's simply back to the fact that the shows are not written well. They're not acted well. They're not produced well. And they're just not trying to tell a story that a lot of people are really interested in. They're more, trying to go after the message and really push that as a vehicle for whatever social or political, things that they want to push. I do not believe the merchandising thing is enough evidence to say Disney is deleting the Acolyte, but they have done it before, and it is not unthinkable it could happen again. It's true. Who knows if they will do it? I will say the cost of it does not bode well for them for that manner. And if the residuals, they don't want to pay those out, it probably makes way more sense for them to delete it. Now, they will, I'm sure, hear about it a little bit on the social media if they do that. But I think the majority of the Star Wars fan base would not be mad about this. I think on some level, now I don't think Lucasfilm was going to do this. I really don't, because I don't think at this point Lucasfilm wants to give any of the quote toxic fans any sort of win beyond what they have to. So they weren't going to give season 2 of Acolyte a go because they would have just utterly lost money. And probably more than likely, that decision may have came down from way above Lucasfilm and just said, no, we're not doing this again. Because knowing Lucasfilm, I halfway expected them to just go out with a season 2 because they didn't care. So this decision may have been handed down where they're forced not to do a season 2, but taking it off the platform entirely, I mean, there's a lot of things that probably go into that. I mean, Leslie Headland, as much as I think her show, this show was terrible, her PR stuff was bad, in just terms of the way presenting the show, and obviously not understanding the Star Wars lore and really what came before it and what the impact of doing a prequel could do to the other movies that came before it. But you do have, it's Hollywood. They want to continue to work with people. And so doing something like this may not be something they want to do. But at the same time, if it is costing them more money, I think they could do it. And I don't think it would be Lucasfilm. I think it would probably be Disney, as Disney is really trying to, rein in the budgets and losing money on Disney Plus. This could be a reason that it ends up happening and not because of anything Lucasfilm wants to do. But in terms of it happening, it's definitely a possibility given how the ratings were for this. And I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. But I suppose until then, if you're a fan of it, watch it as much as you can, I suppose, if you're worried about it going away, to get your fix of the Acolyte in case that were to happen. But that is going to be it for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of pop culture and theme parks. And let us know in the comments, do you think the Acolyte may get deleted off of Disney Plus and get memory hold completely? And until next time, we will see you later.